I tried to meet every one of you, but I'm possibly never able to do that. And I do want to meet you before you leave. I appreciate this opportunity. I'm honored to be here among you. Veterans are my favorite people on earth, the American veteran. And in my family and in the background are huge experiences. And I can tell you many, many stories, and I won't bore you with all of them, but I'm going to tell you a few of them. And the opportunity to speak to you a little bit, because I believe this room and these kind of people that are in this room are what's going to bring the American economy back. I believe we have this incredible opportunity to help people build their businesses and be more successful in their businesses. And veterans coming back aren't finding jobs. They've got to find some jobs, a place to work. And if they have to create those places, then that's what we want to help them do. We want to be sure they get the money. And Mr. Foreman's here. He's going to tell you a little bit about that later on. We want to make sure that they have the wherewithal and the support to be able to do what I believe America's all about, and that's a free enterprise system, freedom in this country, to build a business and do the things we want to do. Now, I'm going to ask everyone if you would. I don't know whether you know things about yourself or not. I'm not going to try to psychoanalyze or psychologize everybody in the room. That's not our purpose. But I can share a little bit of information with you if you'll get everything out of your hands. Would you do that, please? Get everything out of your hands. Thanks. I know it's a little... that's going to be... Okay. If you would, please put your hands in front of you. Hold them apart. About like this, if you would, please. And if you will, please clasp your hands together. Will you do that? Will you clasp your hands together? Please don't take your hands apart till I ask you to. Now, I've been doing seminars for many, many years, some 32, 33 years, and I've done this thousands of times. And I'm going to tell you, it's a pretty simple thing to do. What I'm going to ask you to do is look down at your hands and see if your right thumb is over your left. Now, let me help you with that. This is your right. Okay, does anybody have, and keep your hands together now and raising them if you would, have your right thumb over your left. Please slightly raise your hands. I appreciate that. I don't know whether you knew this or not, but you're left-brainers. You're logical thinkers. You like sequences, numbers, things to be in order. You like controls, systems. You don't like guessing at things. You don't like surprises. Did you know that about yourself? Your left brain. See, now this is pop psychology, but I mean, I'm telling you now, this is extremely accurate. If you would, those of you who have your left thumb over your right, keeping your hands together, your left thumb over your right, would you slightly raise your hand? Okay, well, that's the majority of the group. You know, 71.8% have their left thumb over their right. Thanks very much for sharing that. Now, if I were comparing you to the first group, which is Einstein, this group is Picasso, right? Imaginative, emotional, people persons, people who have the passions and have those feelings of vision and all those great things that come out from being that Picasso, that inspired side of things. Now, here's the most important question, I guess, at this point. Does anybody have anything other than this? Just this one gentleman over here? Okay. Okay, listen up, sir. Okay, you're a sick man. And I can help you. Thank God I'm here, but I can't help you. Just see me after the session. So we got the right-brainers, we got left-brainers. Oh, by the way, this is a habit. You folding your hand like that, you'll do it that way every time. Now, just to demonstrate how awkward it is to do it any other way, please reverse your thumbs. How's it feel? I got to put it back. That's the way it feels when I try to brush my hair. Same kind of feelings, you know, something's not right, not quite. Or do it again, do it again. You see how awkward that is? That's what change does. Kind of like somebody trying to stick a bean up your nose. You just don't want it to happen, right? It's change. We resist change. We're slow to change because it feels good. The way you've got your hands fixed feels good. Please fold your arms. This gentleman led the way. If you would, all right, if you would, please reverse your arms. Okay? How's that feel? Let's get some applause. A little applause. Reverse your hands. You see that awkwardness? That's what we're talking about when we talk about change. So that's what people have to deal with and face to make things happen differently and to do things a little bit differently ourselves. So that's what we're talking about, the little bit of time that we have. And I'm not sure how I'm going to stay on track, but I'm going to do everything I can time-wise to get us wrapped up. But I want to tell you about a man that I met that changed my life. I was very young. This man, turns out, was a plank officer on a supply ship that followed MacArthur all over the Pacific. Chief Petty Officer, you know the story. Got that mug and, knows everything. Everybody goes to him, the go-to guy. And this man, absolutely one of the finest men I've ever met. And I was in a airplane with a customer, and he was telling me about a significant experience. He's a vice president with a company called SCANA Corporation at the time, who bought out South Carolina Electric and Gas. And he talked about having this one man that I'm describing. The man's name is Sheely Pendarvis. And he talked about Sheely being on the plane with him and two vice presidents and himself. And they had left Charleston, South Carolina, headed for Atlanta, Georgia. And about halfway, the engine stopped. He said he looked out and that prop was just sitting there. And there's a tilt, and then all of a sudden the plane's a little bit erratic, and it wakes everybody up, typically. And everybody except my uncle, Sheely Pendarvis. He's sleeping in the back, snoring. See, he's been through a couple typhoons in the Pacific, and turbulence doesn't bother him very much. But it was driving the two vice presidents crazy. And they were yelling at the top of their lungs, hey, oh my God, we're going to crash. This is it. This is over. And he wakes up with all the yelling and the screaming these guys are doing. And as he tries to get himself awake a little bit, the pilot, my friend, explains to him, we've got an engine out, and these guys are afraid we're going to crash. And the first words out of his mouth was, how are we doing with the other one? How are we doing with the other one? And that's what you get for what you gave, is that experience that you now have as veterans of the right things to do, in the right conditions, and the right moves to make. A professional defined as a person who's been trained, disciplined, and can do the right things under pressure without conscious thought or effort. We know what the right things are. We know what the things are we need to do. So we got to make ourselves do what those things are. So building that business to a level where it's successful, helping others in the process is one of the most dramatic things we do, helping others in this process to raise that level of participation, the idea of teaming, collaborating, and working with and through others to accomplish a task. Now, I've got an experience I wanted to share with you as well. I was working at Walter Reed Army Hospital. Since 1984, I've done programs at Walter Reed Army Medical Center. My 12-year-old grandson was in a class, and they wanted to write letters of encouragement and assurance to the wounded warriors. I don't know whether you visited Walter Reed Army Hospital or not, but there are many people in there who are in a tough spot, and they're fighting to get back to where they can work normally and exist. And so it's an incredible place, one of the best places I've ever worked, and I've had more great experiences there than I can tell you about. First time there with a young man standing by the information desk. I was running late for an appointment with a colonel there, and I didn't know how to get to the place. And he was standing by the information desk, had his right arm in the air, and it was a steel arm. And he said, I'll take you. I'll show you where it is. And I said, man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, because I didn't want to be late. It's very embarrassing to be late, especially with a colonel. And as we walked over there, I said, what happened? He said, well, I got blown up. I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I said, really? I said, well, how do you feel about that? He said, I feel like I need to get back as quick as I can. I got my buddies over there, and they're encouraging me that I might be able to go back. And I thought about, wow, what a great way to see the world and see the engagement that we have over there and the commitment that these people are making. But when I mentioned my grandson, he wrote a poem and sent it and it's plastered over the walls at Walter Reed Army Hospital. And I got a copy of it, and I wanted to share it with you. And I know that reading your grandson's poems is not necessarily always, people all got grandkids, and we don't want to hear about everybody else's, but I thought for a 12-year-old kid to have this kind of insight about what was going on in these places where we're engaged throughout the world, this was pretty significant. The name of it is Standing Tall. He says, you fight and fight to defend us all. It's right, our country standing tall. We fall and get back up again. We cannot be held back. Stand tall forever. We will stand. It is no easy task. None left behind, our time to shine. We will not be late. We will not lose our destined fate. It is our time to choose. We live and stand, the freedom in us all. It stays well planned. Our soldiers have been called. Now, I'm proud of this. I'm going to make sure everybody gets a copy of this. 12 years old. And I went to his school and presented him with a ton of coins. You know how you'll get the coins. I've got a major collection of coins because I've worked since '84 primarily with DOD. 75% of the time, 75% of our business has been done through Department of Defense, Department of the Army, and all the different places. I've been in every research and development, test and evaluation and engineering command in the country. And we're doing great things, I can promise you that.